Morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Friday, February the 20th. Coming into today, you can see the overall markets yesterday, a little bit more consolidation here. I personally did not take any trades yesterday. I was more hands off in the markets just because we weren't able to break underneath that previous day lows. Basically, the exact same game plan coming into market open here today. We'll kind of talk about this. We do have some red folder news as well. Before we do that, what is up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, TW. Good morning, Cody, KO. Good morning, Victor, Andreas, Marie, Lamet, Deuce, Juan, Robert. What's up, everyone? Good morning. What's up? I am 50. Ken, Cosmic, Cinna, Chris, Gerald, Big. What's up, Deuce, Dave? Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's pull up the economic calendar and then we'll head on to exactly what we're looking for coming into today. So as you can see here, for the economic calendar, we do have some red folder news that is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have advanced GDP along with core PCE. And then at 9:45, we do have flash services, which is about 15 minutes after market open. So coming into today, we'll go over some charts for the first 30 minutes, and then we'll wait for 8:30 to develop our game plan. And of course, we do have some red folder news at about 15 minutes into market open. So most likely, we are going to be a little bit patient today, unless we can have a clear break underneath our previous day low. So let's go right on to the ES, and then we'll head on to the NQ. So as you can see, coming to market open, the key levels that we have marked out is just going to be that previous day lows. As you can see, the key level yesterday was our Wednesday's lows of Wednesday's lows of this week. Yesterday, we weren't able to break underneath our previous day lows. And you can see buyers essentially defended this level. So basically the exact same game plan coming into market open here today. You can see touch here, touch yesterday. If we do want to see some downside, we need it underneath previous day low. That is going to be key. Short-term play underneath previous day lows. If buyers defend previous day lows, then you have to be cautious of this mini mean reversion, which happened yesterday. Buyers stepped in right off the bat and pushed this back up and towards our gap fill. You can see this a little bit easier here on the SPY chart if I zoom in here. So the key level that I had yesterday was our 683. As you can see, 683 buyers defended this level, and then we just end up pushing it back up in towards our gap fill level. Similar thing here, we have a very small gap coming into market open. If buyers push all the way down in towards that previous day lows, defend this level, we can see a push right back up in towards the middle of the range. Today, we do have multiple touches off this area. So as you can see, we have a touch here, touch here. We'll go on to the QQQ here in a second. But if we can break underneath that 682, we can see this continue push right back down in towards that 678. Another possible scenario here is going to be that pop and fade that we have here off our 686. That's another potential short area for this continuation back towards the downside. So these are the two short scenarios that we have on the SPY. If we're looking for longs, longs are going to be the bounce play here off our 682 for this mean reversion, or longs are going to be above our 686. In my opinion, longs aren't really on the table just because the higher time frame is leaning a little bit more towards the downside. Okay, now let's go on to the NQ chart. Just give me 1 second here. Let's go on to the NQ. So the NQ is a little bit more cleaner. As you can see here on the higher time frames, NQ, let's actually just zoom out. You can see every single high so far is being shorted towards the downside. Lower highs are being built here. And now you can see we're coming to a key inflection point, which is just going to be that previous day lows. If we break underneath previous day lows, we can see a bigger push towards the downside. So let's zoom in here on the 15-minute time frame. So coming into market open, as you can see, the key levels that we're going to have marked out, we have your previous day lows along with your Wednesday's lows here, multiple touches. the key level is going to be that previous day low. Break underneath previous day low, we can see this continuation down in towards that 24,600. If we bounce and reject off your Friday's highs in a similar spot yesterday, we can see another rejection or a pop and fade here as well for a push towards the downside. So two scenarios for the downside here on the NQ. The main one is, of course, going to be the break underneath previous day lows. If buyers step in off your previous day lows, you can see this potential mean reversion. That's going to be a play that you could be looking for coming to market open, or now, as I mentioned, longs above your previous day highs for continuation higher. If we go into the QQQ, the key levels that we have marked out here is going to be that previous day lows as well. A little bit more of a cleaner level. You can see touch on Wednesday, another touch yesterday, 601. Buyers stepped in yesterday, just pushed this back up in towards that 606. Another reaction here off your 606 coming into today. So if we want to be looking for shorts, we can be looking for shorts underneath 601, which is your previous day lows, for this continued push down in towards that 598. Another possible scenario here is going to be the rejection that we have off 606. That's also going to be the key level here as well. So there's two scenarios for the QQQ. If you want to see a bounce play here off your 601 for a mean reversion, or now longs, as I mentioned above, our 606. So that's what we have for the NQ. My main scenario coming into market open here on the NQ and the SPY, of course, is going to be the rejection and the previous day low break and retest underneath your previous day lows. So that's what we have coming into market open here. As you can see, this week's been a little bit more difficult. It hasn't really had a clear direction. Monday, you end up having that opening drive. Tuesday, nice pop coming to market open, and then we end up fading. Yesterday, just no real clear direction here in the markets. So this week has been a little bit more difficult. We are still leaning towards the downside, as I mentioned. So if we can break underneath previous day lows, hold underneath previous day lows, we can see this continue push towards the downside underneath 601. So that's what we have on the major indices coming into market open here now. Let's go on to the SMH, and then we'll head on to the IWM. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over here now, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate it if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, I'll check out some charts here in a second. I'm going to go over the SMH, IWM first, and then I'll go over some tech names, and then we'll head on to some other tickers. So the SMH. So coming into today, the key level, as you can see, semi showed a little bit of weakness yesterday, broke back underneath our 410 key level. This was the level we had to reclaim, or right, a potential kind of rejection off this general area, which is that 410. So moving forward here on some of the semiconductors, we need to see the break above our 410 for this continued push back towards the upside. Right now, I'd say we're a little bit more neutral here for the week. Higher time frame still bullish on the SMH, but if we want to see some upside, we need it above our previous day highs. Rejection off this 410, we can see your previous day lows and potentially that 403. So a little bit more neutral, as I mentioned here, coming into this week and coming into a Friday. A higher time frame is really, this is one of the only tickers that remains bullish on the higher time frames compared to the NQ, which is a little bit weaker. So as you can see right here, this is what we have for the SMH compared to the NQ or compared to the SPY, which is now, right, SPY a little bit more neutral, QQQ leaning a little bit more towards the downside in the past 20 sessions, as you can see. So let's go on to now the IWM. As for the IWM, this one, not really too much to talk about. This one has just been in consolidation. So if you do trade any of the tech names, the key levels that we have marked out is our 265. We have the low of the range, which is our 258, and the high of the range, which is our 269. If you do want to be looking for trading opportunities, we can be looking for the reaction that we have off your 265 along with this 263. Okay. So with that being said, coming into market open here today, key level, as I mentioned, is going to be that previous day lows. Now I'm going to go on to some tech names. We're going to go on to the Mag 7. We'll start off with Tesla, and then we'll make our way down. And then, of course, we'll go on to a few other names here as well before 8:30, which we do have some red folder news. Okay, so let's first talk about Tesla. The main chart here is going to be this hourly chart. So as you can see, if I was to just drag over this general area, this is the level that we had coming into this week, which is that 415, 416. It's a 1 hour level, and there's multiple touches around this general level, but you can see coming into Monday, nice drop underneath, rejection on, sorry, this was on Tuesday. On Wednesday, came up, was not able to get above and maintain above that 415. And then yesterday, you can see another low rejection here as well. So this general area is very key. If we do want to see upside, we need it above our 415 for a flip here on Tesla. If we maintain underneath 415, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the downside here. But now we're going to need to reject and also break underneath key levels on the lower time frames. So let's go on to Tesla here on the lower time frames. The key levels that I personally have is going to be that 410 along with your 413, at least coming into this week. So if we do want to see some upside here on Tesla, I like longs at a minimum above our 413. Right, 413 or even above your previous day highs for continuation. Another possible long scenario is going to be that bounce here off your 410. I personally don't like this one as much. I'm going to be a little bit more neutral, right, if we're just looking at this week's price action. So that's what we have here on Tesla coming into today. If we do want to see some downside, right, we need it underneath 410 rejection for continuation towards the lows. So underneath 410, we can see potential 405 or now, right, potential pop and fade here off for 413. Tesla, in my opinion, just looks very neutral on the week. So I'd be a little bit more cautious on this one. There's been a little bit more fake outs coming into this week. The nice trade was, of course, on Monday once we had a clear break underneath previous day lows. Besides that, the rest of the days we kind of had, right, we're kind of opening up in the middle of the range, or we're just kind of opening up around key levels. So you just want to be a little bit more cautious on Tesla. Key levels, as I mentioned, 413 along with your 410. Just be a little bit more cautious on this name coming into market open. As for Nvidia, the Nvidia levels are still fairly clear here, which is just your 187. This is your high that we created here on Tuesday, and we end up reclaiming it nicely. Higher time frames now, we're kind of just consolidating above this 187. We need to see the break back above our previous day highs, maintain above your 187 for any sort of continued push towards the upside. If we go back onto the 15-minute time frame, similar thing, the levels aren't as clear on Nvidia coming into this week. Key levels that we have marked out is just going to now be our previous day highs as well. So we can mark out that previous day high level, drag it down. If we do want to see continuation here for Nvidia, we like to see longs above our 188, or now the bounce play here off our 186 for continuation towards the upside. So two scenarios for Nvidia, and then shorts are in play underneath that previous low, which is that 186.50. So coming into market open here today, there's actually not too many setups. So we'll go on to some more setups here in a second. But so far, a lot of these are kind of opening up inside the middle of the range. The best setup would be the Qs underneath previous day lows, but as you can see so far, this one's basically inside of its previous day's range here as well. So we'll go on to a couple more names here. As for AMD, a little bit more consolidation. As you can see, a lot of consolidation actually this week, just kind of ranging in between our 196 along with our 204. If we do want to see continuation towards the upside here on AMD, break above our 204 is necessary for any sort of continuation towards the upside. Besides that, you can see this potential rejection off your previous day highs, higher time frame key level here as well. You could be looking for this pop and fade towards the downside, but that would be more of a mean or rejection setup just because we're inside of a range. As for a few other tickers here, Apple, a little bit of consolidation. Actually, sorry, this one pulled back just a little bit down in towards key levels. So far, no buyers are stepping in off our 260.50. If we get that rejection, potentially we could see a bigger push towards the downside. Next level is our 255. For Apple, we're going to need to see the reclaim back above our previous day lows if you want to see any sort of push back up in towards that 261.50. As for everything else here, Google, a little bit of a bounce, and now it's just coming back up in towards our earnings low. So moving forward, this is going to be the key level that we have marked out. Longs are in play for a mean reversion back above our 308. If we reject off our 308, we can see this gap fill right back towards the downside. So as you can see right here, if we reject off our 308, we can see a push right back down in towards our previous day highs along with this previous day lows. So this is what we have for Google coming to market open. Microsoft, not really too much that I see here on the higher time frames. This one is just very much bearish still. So sorry, the lower time frame is there's not too much going on. The higher time frame is still very much bearish, and every single pop is being shorted so far. So you can expect this one to continue towards the downside. Now underneath our 398, that's going to be the hold for this continued push towards the downside. If you're looking at Meta, yeah, key level that we have, earnings low here, a little bit of reaction, shorts are in play underneath our 640. Longs, right, potential mini bounce back towards the upside as long as you can maintain above your 640. Amazon, this one, nice bounce coming into market open. Sorry, nice bounce coming to this week. Now you can see the key levels that we're going to have marked out is going to be your, we can just actually readjust this. The key levels that you're going to have marked out is going to be that previous day highs. And the next levels is, of course, going to be that Wednesday's highs. So for Amazon, this one, if you do want to see any sort of strength above your Wednesday's highs for continuation, or now you're going to be looking for Amazon above your previous day highs for this pushback towards the upside here as well. Yeah, the Amazon and Google, they've been showing a little bit more strength compared to the overall markets. Right now, we ended up hitting our earnings low. We're kind of basing here. Buyers stepped in here, offer key level support. Technically, we are still in a downtrend, so very much well could reject. But if we see a lot of strength right off the bat above key levels, we could see a potential mean reversion back up in towards our 212. At least 210, 209, 210, and potentially your 212 is in play for Amazon. As for Netflix, similar thing here as well, right? Every pop so far is being shorted, right? Key level for Netflix is now just going to be that previous day lows, which is going to be key. So we have marked out your 78.20, and we also have marked out your 77 key psych level. Shorts rejection here off your 77, push down in towards your previous day lows and below. As for Netflix, if we can reclaim, we can see this push back up in towards our 78.20. So that's what we have coming into market open here today on some of these tech names. As I mentioned, there really isn't too much that looks super solid coming into this week. So far, especially yesterday, right? We're very cautious just because we want to see the Qs underneath your previous day lows. No real major tech setups now with the markets consolidating a bit more. So we're a lot more patient here. Similar thing today. We'll see what sets up within the next potential 6 minutes here with red folder news. But at least coming into market open, we're going to be a little bit more cautious. And of course, if you do want to see shorts are in play underneath our 601, which is going to be key. All right, so if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over here now, I'll go over them for the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll wait for the red folder news that we do have at 8:30. You guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below as well. Let me go over the chat while we go over some tickers here as well. Let's see, AMD Palantir. So most of these names, right? Also as well, if you guys look at the watch list on the right hand side, you guys will see I go over most of these tickers. So if any ticker is on the right hand side, I just go down in a straight line. So you guys, if you look at this, these are the features, right? You have the indices and then you have some of the tech names, right? I go over most of these tickers. If not, right, you can always, if you miss it, you can always rewind the stream and then I go over a couple other names as well. Okay, let's go on to Palantir first. Why don't you trade SPX or SPY, but choose tech names instead? Just respect more levels because SPY and Qs, right? I will trade SPY and Qs if we're ranging a little bit more, just because there's a lot more mean reversions, reversals, rejections compared to the tech names, which we like trading trending markets. So a lot of the times, whenever currently at least the past week, there hasn't been too many trends, but if there's ever trending markets or something that's leading the market higher, right, you'll have very clean sectors that are leading the market. So a sector that has been leading the market the past year has been some of the semiconductors, right? If you look at the SMH in specific, right, it's consolidating a little bit more here now. But if you look at the SMH in specific, look at this nice trend within the past, really since October to right the February. You can see a nice clear trend towards the upside compared to the Qs, which has been consolidating since October. So if you're trying to swing trade or if you're trying to look for any trending markets, has been very difficult on the tech side. But if you're looking at anything within the SMH, right, if you're looking at Micron, look at how clean of a trend this is. SNDK, right? Intel, we had nice trends. So these names had nice trends in the markets, and it's a lot easier to trade if you're in a trending market compared to if the market's just consolidating and there's a lot more reversals. As for Palantir, key levels that we have on Palantir is just going to be that low. In this case, is our low that we created here on Wednesday. Now for Palantir, if you're looking at this on the higher time frame, still bearish, but intraday, right? As you can see yesterday, we end up having a nice kind of bounce play. So for Palantir, still bearish. Coming to this week, you like to see every pop be shorted. But if we do want to see some downside, we need it now at underneath at a minimum your previous day lows. At least for the key levels that we have marked out is going to be, we can kind of just readjust this previous day highs. So for Palantir, if you do want to see downside, at a minimum, we need it underneath previous day lows for continuation towards the lows. So far, Palantir, I'd say at least this week, a little bit more neutral, leaning slightly bullish for the week. So for Palantir, I don't really like upside, but you could be looking for previous day high retest for continuation or even the potential bounce play here off our 133. As for a few other tickers here, MU, this one consolidating after having this nice push higher, but you can see just kind of consolidating inside of this range. This is equilibrium, longs above our 427. Another possible scenario is going to be off this 412 for continuation higher. So that's what you have for Micron. SNDK, a lot more consolidation here as well. Key level that we have is equilibrium. We personally like to see longs above 670, or now since it's in equilibrium, potential low risk opportunity off our 610. As for a few other tickers here, let's go on to APP. This one had some news in the after hours. Let's kind of remove a couple levels here as well. If you're looking at this from a higher time frame perspective, APP is actually in a really good spot. 50% retracement from the highs. And as you can see, this is basically just this general consolidation area that we originally broke out from. So for APP, we have a couple gap fills back towards the upside, key levels that we have marked out. In this case, if you go back onto the drawings, you can mark out this gap fill. So you can mark out this. Let's just go back onto the lower time frames. And then we also have our full gap fill, which is going to be back up and towards, you can mark out this level here. So for APP, the key levels that we have marked out coming into today, if it'll load. So as you can see, nice pop in the after hours. Key levels coming to market open. This one is in a downtrend here on the higher time frames. So right now we do have a key level of resistance, which is your 440. If you do want to look for potential longs coming to market open, might be a little bit more difficult, but first scenario above your pre-market highs, above this 440, another possible scenario, right? Some sort of opening range reclaim for a push up in towards that 440 and above. You do have to be a little bit more cautious of if it does have a sharp rejection, you could see this potential day one reversal back towards the downside. But this one on the higher time frames, you just have to be a little bit cautious since it still technically is in a fairly sharp downtrend within the past 20 to 40 sessions. So you just have to be a little bit more cautious. If you are trading upside, just be a little bit more aggressive in your scaling since, as you can see, this is what the past 20 to 40 days looks like. Okay, let's go on to the SPY and Qs once again. We do have some red folder news that just came out in the markets. Okay, so we have some red folder news here. The numbers came out. Advanced GDP, as you can see, are forecasted 2.8%. The GDP came in a lot lower, 1.4%. Core PCE came in a little bit higher than expected, 0.3 compared to 0.4. As I mentioned, we do have some red folder news later into the day, which is going to be at 9:45. But so far, the market is having a little bit of reaction off this level. So as you can see, we basically just went up and towards our previous day close. But now you can see overall market's dropping, reacting basically off the news that we just recently had. Now the key level, as I mentioned, is still going to be that previous day lows. So the previous day lows here is going to be key. As I mentioned, key level is that 601. So you can see touch here, break underneath 601. This is going to be one of my main scenarios I'm keeping an eye out for. So as you can see, if we break underneath previous day lows, we can be looking for continuation down in towards that 597. So this is my main scenario that I'm going to keep an eye out on for the QQQ, but it needs to have a clean break. What I don't want to see happen is the bounce, and then we end up rejecting, and then we just gravitate right back up and towards the range that we created. Something similar to yesterday. Right, yesterday made a little bit more sense that potentially we have some more consolidation or the buyers could step in. Today, since now we have a touch here, another touch here, we had some news come in. Now I could see the break. I like it a little bit better than yesterday since now we have multiple touches. It's a Friday here as well. So if we can get underneath, we can potentially look for that continuation down in towards our 597. As for the SPY, similar thing here, multiple touches. If you can break underneath previous day lows, we can see this push down in towards our 680s and potentially that 678. So that's going to be the scenario for today. NQ and ES, exact same levels that we have marked out here as well. Now let's go on to some of the watches and the game plan coming to market open. So for Tesla, a little bit of a drop here. I think Tesla's going to be a little bit more of a difficult name to trade, but the key level 410 break underneath, potentially you can see a bigger push down in towards our 406 and below. We'll keep an eye out on Tesla today. Nvidia, we'll keep an eye out on this one here as well, underneath that previous day lows, 186. We'll also keep an eye out on their 185.50 as well. AMD. So AMD here is still bearish on the higher time frames. I do like this one. As you can see, overall higher time frame still very much bearish. As you can see, lower highs are being built. We're rejecting off key levels here as well. For me, AMD looks like we can see this continue push towards the downside, right? You kind of have this higher time frame kind of bear flag forming on AMD. The higher time frames bearish. We had earnings gap towards the downside. Overall market sentiment's a little bit weaker. So for AMD, I wouldn't be opposed to looking for potential low risk entry. Key levels that we have, as I mentioned, is going to be off our 204 for a continuation lower, or now some sort of opening range. If AMD forms, we have a bearish 5-minute opening range. Potentially we can take this towards the downside, or if we are underneath your previous day lows, potential continuation down in towards our 194 and below here as well. So that's what we have for AMD. Apple showing a little bit more weakness underneath our key level. So Apple's in play now underneath that 260.50 for continuation towards the downside. And then for the rest of the tickers, Microsoft, you can keep an eye out underneath your 398. So the main ones towards the downside today, keep an eye out on Nvidia underneath that 186. Tesla, a little bit more neutral, but keep an eye out on your 410. AMD's in play. We'll keep an eye out on that first kind of 5 to 15 minutes that it develops. Higher time frame, just understand it's bearish. Intraday, a little bit more neutral, of course, but we're just waiting for the lower time frames to flip bearish on AMD. As for a few other tickers, Apple underneath our 260.50. The key levels that we have for Palantir, of course, is going to be that 133. And then, yeah, for a few other tickers here, really the main thing is going to be the Qs. So I actually wouldn't be opposed to trading the SPY and Qs. Since this week, it's been a little bit more difficult on some of these tech names. The SPY and Qs have had a little bit more cleaner levels, cleaner bounces, rejections off key levels as well. So really, I'm just going to focus in on the major indices, SPY and Qs, and then just focus in on Nvidia, AMD, and Tesla if it does want to show extreme relative strength or weakness coming into market open. Tesla dropping now. Yeah, a lot of the names are just dropping now just because we had initial reaction here with the red folder news that we did have at 8:30. As I mentioned, we do have some more red folder news, which is going to be at 9:45 as well. Why didn't you post your trading result yesterday? Yeah, I personally didn't take any trades. So yesterday I was busy. Plus, I didn't take any trades. So I ended up missing. So I ended up not posting. If I do take a trade today, I'll have like an end of week recap for you guys as well. But yeah, that is most likely going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, key level today is going to be that previous day lows. Right this week, it's been better to be a little bit more hands off and wait for extra confirmation. Since there's been a lot of fake outs, there hasn't been really a clear direction. So similar game plan today, you want to see a clear break underneath previous day lows if you do want to take the markets towards the downside. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, SPY, Qs, previous day lows, that is going to be the key level. And yeah, I'm going to get ready for market open here. If you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below as well. I'll have a YouTube video coming out this Sunday. That's going to be a good one. Yeah, besides that, hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys all next week. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.